Hi guys, today's video we are going to be finally working on the request I received to colour in Ruth Sanderson's The Snow Princess. This is a part of her book series in grayscale, and we're going to be doing this lovely page which actually matches the front cover design. And I'm going to use the Caran Pablo pencils, but of course you can use any set of pencils that you want. This is Amazon paper, so it does react best to wax-based pencils essentially. So for the background I will use Arteza. I just want to try these pencils out, seeing as I have only just got them. So I think we're going to use purples for her clothes, and all you need is a light, a medium and a dark purple in whatever set that you're using. I will of course list the ones I use below in case anyone is interested, and in the Caran Pablo set I'm using mauve as my light, lilac as my medium and violet as my dark. But like I say, you just need a light, a medium and a dark purple. I'm starting with my darkest colour, so take your dark purple, in this case violet, and we will give ourselves a nice clean sharp edge, as I always do, where it would be nice and dark just underneath that fur. We're going to try and leave our snowflakes alone, but it is not the end of the world. We can posca them back in when we are finished. So don't panic if you do catch them. She is blue on the front cover, and she does appear numerous times in this book. So if you like to create a colour story for your storybook pages, then obviously you can use the blue if you prefer. Just swap the tones in for a light, a medium and a dark blue, or whichever colour set you would like to use for her clothes, and you can use those instead. And we're just starting to work in all the dark sections. It's quite a shadowed part of the cloak, so quite a bit of it is this nice dark colour. I'm pretty sure these will be the first videos up for me for the new year, so Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everything has started off well for you guys, and that you're all keeping well. And here's hoping that 2021 is a better year for everyone. These Amazon printed pages can be a little bit rough and difficult to actually pick up the exact tones of the grayscale, so you do need to take a little bit of artistic license with these and just start to work it in where you think it should be. And the main thing is always just feather the edges that you've created out a little bit, so your next colour will blend nicely into this one. little circles and just blur out those sharp edges. That is that section. I'm just going to add a little bit here, I think. I'm going to take my medium purple, in this case the lilac, and work that inwards from that darker purple tone. Now working on where I think all the medium tone of purple will be. And of course in this section there's not very much of the lighter colour, as we are pretty much in shadow. I'm just working small circular motions over everything just to colour all that tooth in, and these do layer nicely with each other, so it will add that medium tone into that darker purple. I'm going to then also work on this slightly lighter section of fabric, so there'll be again a nice sharp edge just there, and then there is a little bit more highlight in this area now, so I am again little circles feathering out that edge so the lighter purple will blend into it again. You'll have to let me know if you prefer to just see a small part of each section done, or if you do actually prefer the entire thing done on camera. Obviously that will be a long video of me kind of colouring the same thing, so I tend to just show you a part of what it's doing and then kind of leave you to do the rest. But if you prefer it different to that, just let me know. I'm now adding this paler purple, which in this case is the mauve, into those lighted sections and just blending it into the medium. And then I'm going to take my darker colour again and just blur this edge a little bit. Just remove some of that harshness. And that is the inside. Looks a lot more grainy on camera, to be honest. It looks better in person. Having terrible problems with my lighting just lately, which I need to work out. It's my own fault. It's because I colour at night. Makes it a bit trickier to actually get a true set of lighting for you guys. So this part of the coat will be the darkest purple. You need to be a little bit careful with this section. So again, give yourself that nice sharp edge, but you want to try and preserve the idea of the fur. So you want to very sharply feather. So a sharp point and feather that purple in, because although the purple is a bold fabric, it will help make it look like the fur is there by preserving those small white lines. So I've just drawn up into that with little feathered flicking motions to preserve this effect along the edge there, and it will make a difference for you later. You need to do that same thing with the bottom edge. Hope you can see without my annoying hand in the way. These really are beautiful pages. It is a shame really for some of these books that they're on the Amazon paper. But of course, print them out if you feel the need. I'm not even sure, I mean it's possible, a lot of books nowadays they are available in PDF versions as well. I don't know if that's the case with these. So I'm now continuing to work that feathering motion in. So it will still have the illusion of that third pattern in between. That is a snowflake, I haven't missed a bit. I'm torn between doing the dress blue. We will see. We'll see. So we will then move on to the next. You'll notice I tackle everything in sections because it makes what can be a very daunting picture much less scary to do. So this section of the robe here, again, I always create my edges first so I know where I'm working to and I won't make a mistake by colouring over something I didn't mean to. You've got to be quite careful of the ribbon and the hair in this section now. So you want to pay attention and work out before you lay anything over anything else what is what. So you've got this ribbon coming down just here. So I will create myself an edge, and then this hair does actually appear to come maybe down and around. Let's check that. Yeah, this piece is hair, and then this is highlighted cloak, I suppose is the word, isn't it? Cloak. So I'm just going to put some nice deep shadow into the folds of this fabric. And again, just being careful here, we have that ribbon. So although it's a dark piece of grayscale, it's a different item. This is the ribbon and this is the cloak in behind it. Just going to feather those edges in a little bit. We do have some of the most beautiful little snowflakes that are probably going to be absolutely impossible to recreate. So, because there's one here, and essentially we're probably going to lose that into the drawing because it's too small for me to work with. I will try my best to leave in as much of the idea of it as I can, but probably as we go along we will decide to fade that out. Okay, I'm going to take my medium purple, my lilac, and bring that in to this darker area. Feather it out a little bit, as always. Yeah, we're going to lose that snowflake. Some people would create a very beautiful, detailed, tiny little snowflake, I'm sure, but that someday is not me. So just very carefully working out what's ribbon here and what's not, avoiding the hair. This is all cloak here as the fur trim is further in, so pop a little bit of dark just there. And then work my medium into that. I think most of the reflected light is coming from whatever magic is happening. If I move my page, she's got something happening here, which on the front cover you can see looks like this. So I am using that, of course, as they have as the light source for this page. That is why for a darker scene there is quite a lot of highlight to this page. And I'm going to take my palest purple and work that up, and I'm leaving a slight white edge. So I'm bringing that up and almost to the edge and then stopping. And what I have is a white outline along here that will give us this beautiful illuminated edge. Same here. Being careful to keep an eye on what is hair and what is ribbon. Need to work this little bit out here. I'm pretty sure that we're safe, that that's where the hair stops, and that this is cloak just here. Blend that in. These pencils are beautiful even on this paper. As I say, I haven't used them before, they're very, very new to me. I just wanted to give them a real test before giving any thoughts on them. Again, just leaving that white edge all the way along, just to create an extreme highlight. And you can even take, let me see now where the white lives. I'm sorry for the lean into the page. You can even add a little bit of white in if you want to just blur that together. That white smooths into that purple really nicely. Very, very nice. And there we have it. We'll do the same. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so that is her left arm. This is why I don't get so many pages done each month, because everything takes me forever. So I'm going to leave that with hopefully being enough of a purple tutorial for you. Everything else, all the dark in the dark grey, feather all this edge in as we have done here to create that beautiful fur-like effect. And then you've got your medium tones coming in down here. Give yourself a nice sharp edge just there, because this is where her arm begins. And some of the paler purple starts to creep in up here. And what you could do is leave a nice little white edge just along some of these patches and just here as well, to create that nice extreme highlight. We have this patterning on the tunic just here, and I'm thinking that maybe the nicest way to preserve some of that would be to burnish a little bit. So press down a little bit harder with your white pencil. You are going to want something like the Pablo, the Caran Luminance, the Prismacolor's a very good one. A lot of people, they've bought themselves a Prismacolor white, even if they don't have the Prismacolor set, just for that kind of opaque, true white. Something that's going to actually preserve this pattern for you when you colour into it. So I'm just popping this white over the top of there. And in essence, sharpening up this pattern, changing it to something that I can actually work with. So these snowflakes are now much thicker. And then I will take my darkest purple, create, as always, my nice edge to work to. And it kind of involves painstakingly working around that pattern. But because you've already placed the white will help to repel the colour a little bit and help preserve that light pattern that you've popped down. It won't stop your pencil colouring over it, but it will make it harder. So if you just work in very light pressure there, you should be able to work it around that pattern. Now, it's not quite that dainty, beautiful pattern that it was, because that's not quite in my skill set yet. And I don't really have the materials to recreate it, but it will be fine enough to create what I'm happy with on the page. Make sure you have a nice sharp point, and then you should also be able to do the same with this little brocade that she has that runs down the side of it as well. I'm just changing it to little almost curled stripes up the edge, and again I will work my purple around that. So I hope that makes sense. You should have the tools you need to recreate that entire purple cloak from what we've shown, hopefully. I'm going to move it over out of my ridiculous light so you can actually see what that looks like a bit more true to the eye. So that is her cloak. For her dress, I think we're going to do it blue. So a medium, a light and a dark blue in whatever tone and colour family that you like. So you can do them orange if you like, and you just swap it for medium, light and dark. I've chosen in the Pablo set, my light blue is light blue, my medium blue is gentian blue, or will it be gentian? I think it's gentian blue, and my dark blue is the Prussian blue from this set. So a light, medium and dark blue. Again, I like to start my grayscale with the darkest colour because that's how I find it easier to colour. We're going to, as always, create my nice sharp edge. I'm going to fade that out. And work up into this darker area, avoiding my snow. Then taking my medium blue, the gentian blue, and working that over the dark and then up. They're very creamy, these pencils. Just kind of sink into your page very nicely. I'm just feathering that blue a bit lighter into the edges where I know it's going to meet the palest tone. And then with my lightest blue, I just coloured my snowflake, didn't I? I'll have to put that one back in afterwards. That's why you need to pay attention to what is what with these. Got a tiny one there. We're not within the direct light source here underneath, so I haven't left a white edging to my colour. I've just added in my highlight blue, my lightest blue. And I'm also going to add a dark edge to the back of that to give that suggestion of roundness, and then just feather it into that light blue a little bit so we don't have a harsh edge. Work that down and in just a tiny bit so that dark blue meets that dark purple. And gives that slight suggestion of that sleeve curling back around on itself. You've noticed I haven't coloured this. I'm thinking this looks a little bit like a lace. Let's see what it's like on the front. Of course, I don't blame her for not having got that far. Don't think I'd want to either. I think it would be nice for it to be kind of a lace cover. So I'm going to pop, even though it's darker underneath there, a very pale blue in between the white pattern. Not being too precise, I'm not going in all this pattern in because it would be very hard to do. But just popping my pale blue in there in between. So we have a suggestion of the sleeve underneath. Popping a little bit of my white into that pattern, just finely. And then what I think I will do, so it's lighter, so it looks like you're looking through a thin mesh fabric there to see the colour beneath. And I think what I'll do when we're finished is take my Spectrum Noir glitter brush pen and brush over the top of that and see what that looks like. We'll see what happens when we've done the page, and I will possibly do that, I think. So I will leave that with just that hint of lighter blue for now, and then we will come up to the collar and create our edge. We're into the light source here, so we are leaving that pale white edge. So we'll pop in our darker blue, feather that out and down, and then our medium blue to meet it. Careful not to cover this, what we've decided is a lace. A little bit of that light blue just to really thin that white edge all the way down, so there's only a hint of a very thin edge to that. Pop the darkness in here. In around that edge. It's the medium blue in the middle. There we go. And I'm just going to pop the little bit of white lace pattern in, and then add that white edge just there, and just here, and then bring my dark all the way up to it so it's very fine. And there we have that. Once you start to add all the background in, this white edging will then start to look the way it's supposed to. I would repeat exactly the same. A very pale blue in the middle, so it gives that impression of a mesh fabric. Then create our dark and light medium grey blue tone sleeve with a very fine white edge, and then add our white to it. Pop some suggestion of white into this lace to create this patterned look. And you've got her second sleeve. We have to assume that this here is her blue dress. So you would do the same as we did, feather the dark blue in to create that feathered edge, and I think it stops about here. So work up to just a slightly lighter blue in the top, and we will do something with her pearls later on. So that covers the cloak itself and the blue dress. For the fur, I've gone with obviously this beautiful white. I have some cream and some silver grey, and I'm going to give a nice white edge to this. Now, she has already created for us this lovely texture and suggestion of fur, so I don't really want to do too much to change that other than give it a little bit of a warmer colour. So we'll take what is in this set the silver grey, but you just want a very, very pale grey, and I'm just flicking that in to this medium grey section that she's created. Nice sharp pencil for this, or you'll just lose all that definition. I'm going to add some of the cream that I have into the middle of this. Very, very lightly, just to give some dimension of colour. And it will look pretty much the same, but when you're all done, it's just one of those tiny little details that you can add or leave, and you can start to see, let me move away from my crazy light, the difference of this just looking more like it has hair strokes in, just where these pictures are a bit grainy because of what they're printed on. It will just sharpen up that picture for you. So a white, a very pale grey and a pale cream, just to do the fur there, and I would do that for all four, can't count, all four parts of that fur all the same. And it is easier to do it after you've done the things around it. So what are we on? Nearly 40 minutes. We've got a little, I'm going to allow these to be kind of an hour, I think. Just because, let's be honest with me, if they're not an hour, I will have hardly showed you anything because I'm very slow. So we're going to do the hair, and I have chosen brown. Of course, you can just add some sharper black into that if you want to keep the hair black. But I, as always, a light, a medium and a dark brown in the same kind of tones if you can. So if you want cool tones, stick to that. I've got brown ochre, sepia and bistre, it would seem. Bistre is 047 anyway. As always, I'm going to take my darkest colour, but the difference being with hair that I am always going to work in hair strokes. I'm not colouring circles, I'm not colouring in whatever direction I feel. I'm colouring in the direction that the hair will be. A very sharp pencil, and you need to give the impression of hair strokes. Try not to lose your highlights as you go, and you will always have to feather it in around that fur. But always in the direction the hair would realistically be growing. It's the only way it will look correct when you're done. So we're just adding in our dark into all those dark patches. As sharp a point as you can. Keep turning your pencil and sharpen it when it needs. Taking our medium brown and working that over that dark, just to give some natural tone to that hair. While still preserving those highlights. Background will be fun trying to get around these, won't it? Well, we do like a challenge, don't we, I guess? Otherwise, I'd have picked an easier page. So with the lightest brown now, bringing that in, you will notice I am still leaving that little bit of white for the highlight, as we are directly in this light source, and hair will shine. And then bringing my white in. To really brighten that highlight. It's a beautiful white, I must admit. I mean, obviously they will do these open stock, so that might be one of the... I do have a luminance white, a Prisma white. I think this might be one that I add to my white stock. It's hard to get a very good white. So when you find them, you must hold them like the mad colourist you are. There we go. I'm going to bring in some of that light brown into this highlight here. And some of the darker. We need to make a ribbon choice, to be honest. Thinking maybe do the headdress to match the dress, but then that's going to leave it blue, where the sky is also probably going to be blue. Decisions. Well, this guy's a darker blue around her, so I think we'll be safe to do it blue. So I'm also going to make the ribbon the same to match. I'm going to take my darkest blue, which is the Prussian blue, and I'm going to pay particular attention to what is ribbon and start to just edge this ribbon in. Sorry guys, I'm just checking my dog's alright. They are fighting over something. Medium blue now, which is the gentian blue. Working that into some of the darker areas that I don't want to be too dark. And then taking my lightest blue, and again I'm leaving the tiniest white edge in some places. I'm just going to add a bit of the darker just here. And then I'm again going to take my white and just bring in that edging. Make sure you clean any colour off the tip of your white as you go. And that should give the desired effect of that ribbon curling back on itself as it twists down and around, while also having some of that light source effect taking place. So same thing for this side, although the only place I'd put white is just here where it's still probably catching the light, all the rest in dark medium and light blue. For the hair, just continue on. Just here I would have some white in there for the highlight, and I would also do it into this edge somewhat where it will be gaining the light just there, and then all the rest in your Still some light brown in here, but then coming into your dark and medium browns only as we come out and down into the darker areas of that picture. And yeah, I hope you found that useful and helpful in some small way. I want to add a bit more brown to this white. It's a bit too white. Change things you don't like as you go. That is the beauty of colouring. There we go. I think there'll be one more part to this video where we'll do probably this headdress together. The pearls in here, her lips, her eyes, her skin, and obviously tackle some of this crazy sky that we have going on, because that's a big area and I don't want to kill a Pablo for it. As I said, very likely going to do my sky in the Arteza, as they lay down very nicely on the Amazon paper. I hope this has been useful. If you like these kind of videos, please like it for me so I know whether to continue on with them. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching. It means the world to me that you're interested in these videos at all. And as I say, I hope you found something somewhat useful in this, and I will see you next time.